Hi, boys and girls. We are going to work on another story together. And I have a graphic organizer here for you that will be very helpful as you read your new story today. This one is the same as the one we used last week. And it is so fun when you use it with stories because you can remember different story key details and it will help you when you are retelling a story. And remember, you might not always have a sheet of paper to write some of your ideas on, so you can dump this sheet in your head and use it when you're thinking about a story. So today, our story is going to have a problem, which is a really fun thing today. And then there are going to be steps to a solution where the character is going to try to solve their problem in many cute ways. And then there is going to be a solution. So we are going to read a story together. Remember, if you are reading a story, sometimes there might be a problem, sometimes not, and sometimes the character or the real person might find a solution, and sometimes they don't. That's just the way the world works. So we are going to look at our new story. It is so cute. It is called Whistle for Willie, and it is by Ezra Jack Keats. It is a realistic fiction, just like the one that we read this week. It is a fiction fantasy story, but it has things in it that could really happen in real life. We will have to think about what sounds can you hear and how are they made. All those fun sounds for this week that we could use our ears for hearing. Today we're going to read about a boy who wants to whistle. This story is by Ezra Jack Keats. He just writes amazing stories, and he does his illustrations, and many of his stories have these characters in them. So I wish we were at school because we would read a lot of his stories together. And if I end up going over to school, I'll have to find some of those stories and read them to you. Before we start to read this story, good readers also might look at the title, Whistle for Willie, and ask yourself some questions. You can also look at the illustrations and make some predictions, and then we'll check your predictions. I might think, Whistle for Willie. Is somebody looking for a whistle? Who's Willie? I see a dog. I see a little boy. The little boy looks like from the illustration, maybe he is trying to whistle. I'm not sure. Maybe that's Willie. So let's go ahead. You ask yourself some questions in your mind and do some predicting. And then we will check your predictions as we go through, just like good readers do. Whistle for Willie. Oh, how Peter wished he could whistle. So I guess this isn't Willie, it's who? Peter. And look at right away, we have a problem that we could write in the chart. Peter wished he could whistle. Let's see if we can find any steps in the story or do some predicting in your mind about what he's going to do next. He saw a boy playing with his dog. Whenever the boy whistled, the dog ran straight to him. Peter tried and tried to whistle, but he couldn't. So instead, he began to turn himself around, around, and around. He whirled, and then you see ... That's called an ellipsis. And that means there's a little bit of pause like, okay, faster and faster, ... Dun, 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 like we say in the room. When he stopped, everything turned down and up and up and down and around and around. Peter saw his dog, Willie. Now we know who Willie is. It's the dog. So now our characters are Peter and his dog, Willie. Quick as a wink, he hid in an empty carton lying on the sidewalk. Wouldn't it be funny if I whistled? Peter thought. Willie would stop and look all around to see who it was. Peter tried again to whistle, but still he couldn't. So Willie just walked on. Now remember, his problem is that he can't whistle. We could add another problem. He really can't whistle for his dog either, like the other child was doing. So then he's trying to solve his problem by trying to whistle again. That's another step to maybe making a solution. Peter got out of the carton and started home. On the way, he took some colored chalks out of his pocket and drew a long, long line right up to his door. He stood there and tried to whistle again. He blew till his cheeks were tired, but nothing happened. Here he is again. He is trying to whistle again, and this time he is trying and trying and trying until his cheeks were tired. That means he tried for a long, long, long time. He went into his house and put on his father's old hat to make himself feel more grown up. He looked into the mirror to practice whistling. Still no whistle. This could be another place where he tried another step that maybe if he could watch himself whistle, he thought maybe that might help him to be able to whistle if he was looking into the mirror. When his mother saw what he was doing, Peter pretended that he was his father. He said, "I've come home early today, dear. Is Peter here?" His mother answered, "Why, no, he's outside with Willie." "Well, I'll go out and look for them," said Peter. So he's being silly and his mom is playing along. First, he walked along a crack in the sidewalk. Then he tried to run away from his shadow. He jumped off his shadow, but when he landed, they were together again. He came to the corner where the carton was, and who should he see but Willie? And we can look here and you could make a prediction. He looks like he's going and looking and kind of peeking around the corner at Willie. So make a good prediction of what you think he might do next. Peter scrambled under the carton. He blew and blew and blew. So there are more steps. He is not giving up and he's still trying to be able to whistle. Suddenly, out came a real whistle. Willie stopped and looked around to see who it was. "It's me," Peter shouted and stood up. Willie raced straight to him. Peter ran home to show his father and mother, what he could do. They loved Peter's whistling. So did Willie. So we see one of the things he did not give up and he kept practicing and practicing and practicing. And finally he was able to whistle. And then he had a solution. He solved his problem, and then he could show his mom and his dad and Willie how he could whistle. Peter's mother asked him and Willie to go on an errand to the grocery store, so she had a job for them. He whistled all the way there, and he whistled all the way home. And that is the end. Wasn't that such a cute, cute story? So here is our author, Ezra Jack Keats. He sold his first painting when he was 8 years old. His illustrations are just lovely. He used cutout paper and a special type of paste to make those really bright pictures, and he's won many awards for his beautiful illustrations. Now you can go back and reread the story. That would be another thing that you could do as a great reader and look at those pictures. And then I want you to do some retelling about the problem in the story, and then some steps that you might have for a solution. And then what happens at the end of the story? How does Peter finally solve his problem? And then we're going to work a little bit on your writing for this week, too.